Merry Meet, Annie here. This video is a video response to Moonlit Opal. I kept seeing really interesting videos all over YouTube this past week on the subject of why do we worship. And they kept referencing that they were a video response, and finally I saw somebody who actually said they were a video response to Moonlit Opal. And I was a bit confused because I thought I was subscribed, and I'm sorry, hon, it looks like somehow my subscription just wasn't there anymore. But I'm subscribed to you again now, and I really like spending some time first watching the videos I've seen so far on this subject, and then having the opportunity to think about it and think about what it meant to me. And I did that thing we all do. It's like the word worship. What does worship mean to me? I certainly say that I worship my gods. And I thought, does what I mean, does it have anything to do with the dictionary definition of worship? So I know that several of our friends here were like, the word itself wasn't something they felt at ease with. So I actually looked it up, and it said it's the reverent love and devotion accorded a deity, an idol, or a sacred object, and the rites, or the rites around that. And I'm cool with that. That sounds good to me. I often say I adore my gods, and that my rituals are an act of devotion. So in that sense, the word worship fits for me. So why do I worship my gods? Unlike you, Moonlit Opal, I actually do feel as if the gods want to be adored. I truly do feel that. I feel that, in a sense, they are waiting for a return. That they have, in a sense, felt abandoned as we've turned away from the old ways and the old gods, and that our returning to them is a welcome act as far as they are concerned. I do not see worship as just what comes from me to them, my adoration of them. I actually do see that it is something that they want. They have been missing the fact that it has not been as present in the world. And that feels, to me, that's a strong sense of what worship feels like, is it feels like my opening up to them, my opening up in complete love and respect, and also a feeling that from them is coming gratitude for my presence. It feels both ways to me. And that's even without being able to, or feeling the need to, define specifically what my gods are or what the divine is. I still feel that sense. Worship to me is being fully present at a moment to all the potential of opening myself up to divine inspiration. It is reverence. It is being still. In a sense, it is both a quieting to listen to whatever comes from within me that feels like divine inspiration, and at the same time being aware that there is something that will come to me externally. And I like that balance of energy. Worship to me feels like that balance of energy, where there is something that moves through me and up and out of me, and at the very same time there's something that moves from outside of me and down into me and through me. Kind of the column of light that we use in meditation. To me, that's the energy of worship, is that connection and the feeling of energy passing back and forth, flowing. And the why of it? Oh my. It's deeply emotional, the why of it to me. It is a feeling of wanting to be complete, both within myself and complete in what I am in relationship to everything that's not me, from the mundane to the divine. It's a feeling of completeness and opening up. It's a feeling of realizing potential. And that can be specifically my own potential, but it's also in the potential of reality, of the world, of me letting go of whatever it is I do that limits it, that defines it. The act of worship, to me, there is no definition. There is only a beginning set of expectations. Every time I enter into worship, anytime I enter into an act of adoration, I set myself up for it in a certain way, but I have no expectations of what will happen. It will be different each time. And it's almost like a complete vulnerability where you let the experience wash over you and be whatever it's going to be. And it feels to me that the gods that I have a relationship with, the ones that I have come to know, it feels the same way to me for them, that they are also putting themselves in a position of being vulnerable and open and are feeling expanded by the relationship that we have. Worship does feel like a relationship to me. It feels to me that when I am in an act of worship, when I am in ritual or meditation or prayer or just stopping at any point to have a moment that is that adoration, that time of adoration, it feels to me that I am becoming, by connecting to something that is greater, and at the same time the something greater becomes more aware every time it's in contact with me, because I also offer it the potential for expansion. So worship to me is an act of love and respect and an exchange of energy. So I paid attention the next time I did a rite, because I had seen the videos that people were putting up, and I thought, what in my rite defines what worship feels like to me? And I thought that it might be invocation or evocation, or when I called my patron to my side, or even when I called my guardians, who are my spiritual allies. And indeed, it wasn't quite there. And it was resoundingly there at the point at which I call on the old ones. Now, calling on the old ones is traditionally Wiccan, and many of our new and eclectic friends probably don't do it or even aren't familiar with it. But there is a line of poetry that I probably stole out of a book about 10 years ago that has become my personal invocation to the old ones at all of my personal rites, at all of my solitary rites. And it invokes the names of the goddess and the god. And that is the point in ritual. When I was holding in mind, what does worship mean to be? When does that union feel complete to me? Is at this point in ritual. And at this point in ritual, I say, hear me, old ones. I welcome you. There is still power in your ancient names. They still survive sighing in the darkness. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. They still survive, whispered on the wind. Mithras, Osiris, Cernunnos, Apollo, Hanuman, Wotan, Dumuz. I'm coming into that rite with these thoughts in my head about what is worship. What did it feel like to me? The feeling gathered around me when I welcomed the old ones. A feeling of awakening, of something that wakes up inside of me, and something that is awakening within the gods, as they are remembered, as we remember. To me, it's about that moment of union and almost divine memory of remembering. It is about adoration to me, and it is a feeling that it is my adoration and theirs, that's what my personal spirituality is about. What worship means to me is being in love with the creation, being in love with the energies of creation, being in love with my personal part of that, with being in love with myself, quite literally, and being in love with whatever the vast allness that encompasses the gods that I truly do worship. I loved this question because it took me at first to a very logical place where I tried to analyze it. And then I realized that I could not analyze it, that I could only experience it, which I did that night in ritual. And I hope I just have been able to capture some essence of that in this video response. And I have really enjoyed, of all the topics I've seen out there, this is one of the ones I've enjoyed the people's responses to the most, so I'm going to keep looking for more responses. And I hope I gather some to add to the collection that folks will video respond to me. Thank you, Moonlit Opal, for an interesting topic that you put out there. So I wish you mirth and reverence And reverence today I'm thinking about as adoration and worship. Mary part.
Hear me, old ones, I welcome you. There is still power in your ancient names. They still survive sighing in the darkness. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. They still survive, whispered on the wind. Mithras, Osiris, Cernunnos, Apollo, Hanuman, Wotan, Dumuzi.